welcome back to my channel. It's Allison, and today I have some really fun shaker cards to share with you. These are round shakers, and they're quite large because they are using the oversized fruit stencils from Waffle Flower. These are from the recent release from Waffle Flower, the August 23 release, and there are other products, well, lots of other products, but I'm going to be using the Fruit Sentiments. And there's actually a matching die set for those. And the Fruity Pun stamp set, which is lots of fun. And to make my shakers, I am going to be using these circle shaker cover pouches, which makes it really easy. And here's one of them just to show you. And I also used a die set called Lacy Circles. Now this die set, it looks to be sold out, so I'm going to include an alternative circle die set below in my description, which will give you the sizes that you need to make a similar card as mine. So you'll see one of the circles, this happens to be a 4 1/4 inch circle die, that fits right inside the pouch. So that is what I'm going to use to start my cards. So you'll see I already cut a piece of, it's kind of a melon colored cardstock. And I have it on my 6x6 grip mat. And I even have my little, I think it's Worn Lipstick Distress ink on my grip mat, and it keeps it in place so that I can ink blend really easily. So right now I'm just going to ink blend the center of my circle just to get a darker center like your watermelons normally would have. And I was a little impatient when creating this card. I didn't wait for the distress ink to dry when I moved on to the next step. So you'll see, you'll see what happens. But the next step is to use the oversized stencil. And I'm using this stencil to create the look of seeds on my watermelon. But this stencil could also be used to make a kiwi, a really cool kiwi. So I'm using these eye brush blender brushes because I don't have a dedicated brush right now for black pigment ink. And I'm going to use black pigment ink for the seeds because I want to heat emboss them. So I forgot that I have these little brushes, but they came in handy and they're great. I need to use them more often. So now you'll see what I was talking about. I didn't wait for my distress ink to dry, so you'll see it's kind of just getting clear embossing ink everywhere. But that's okay. It kind of worked in my favor because as it dries, and it will be kind of hard for you to see on screen, but it creates this shiny texture in the middle of the watermelon, kind of like what you would expect. The watermelon has a juicy center, and then on the edges it's dry and lighter and tasteless, right? Like a normal watermelon. So now I'm putting Scor-Tape on the back of that circle, just around the edges. And this is how we're going to create the shaker. And I'm just reinforcing that tape, or, pressing it down with my bone folder. So there's a film on these shaker covers. You just simply pull it off. And you'll see all the little tabs around the edge. So I'm going to place my stenciled circle in the middle. I'm going to put a piece of paper under here so you can see it better. And I'm going to fold all these tabs in first. I'm not adhering them to the circle. I'm just getting them ready. So they just fold in really easily. And now I can take the release tape off and start to fold them in and actually adhere them to the circle. So I will continue doing this until I have a few left that aren't adhered. And that's, going to leave an opening so that I can fill my shaker. So again, it's just really easy to fold these in, and you'll see this is the area that I'm going to leave open. So I'm using 4mm sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, and I'm just using red and clear and some white. And super easy. So now that I have those, I'm making sure that there aren't any sequins around this area, and I can just press those down. And now it's all contained, and I'm going to use my bone folder just to, make sure that tape is on there nice and solid. So, you know me, I like to change my mind. I have this Oversized Fruit Die set, which cuts these watermelon seeds where they can be strawberry seeds. So I thought, well, maybe it would have been fun to have that in the shaker instead. So it was really easy to just open a few of these little tabs up, and I got rid of all the little sequins, and I put my watermelon seeds in, and it looks like ants. It creeped me out. I don't know. It wasn't really what I was thinking it was going to be. So I put the sequins back in, and now I have cut a green piece of cardstock from that, a large scalloped circle from that Lacy Circles set, and I'm just inking up the edges a darker green. Now I am creating the card base. So I cut a white piece, and this happens to be a 5-inch circle, this scalloped circle. And now I'm just creating this hinge. I'm scoring it. It's not quite at an inch. And I'm going to just use my bone folder to reinforce that fold. And so now when I put the green piece on top, you'll see that that hinge allows you to open the card. So that's how you create any shaped card. Now for the inside, I am just also coloring that green, and now I have a white piece, a smaller white piece to put on the inside, and you'll see I had already started ink blending it red, but I remembered I need to heat emboss the sentiment first. Otherwise I'm going to run into that problem that I ran into before. So this sentiment is from that Fruity Pun Sentiments set. And so I'm just embossing it with white embossing powder. And now I realize I should have cut it first. So I'm just marking where I should cut it. And now I'm ready to ink blend. And by the way, I'm still not feeling well. So this week has been kind of a hot mess for me. You can see by this ink blending, this is not really paper that I would normally ink blend on. And look at me, I've stopped, and I'm like, I don't know if I should continue. It's a hot mess, but I was bound and determined not to have to do this again. So I made it work. I just kept ink blending it, and it ended up smoothing out pretty nicely. So here is that piece, and I'm just gluing it onto, that bottom part of my card base. And now on that flap, I am adhering Scor-Tape. And you could use liquid glue on here, and I will use some liquid glue to fill in some of the spots that I didn't get with Scor-Tape, but I like using Scor-Tape or double-sided tape when I'm creating hinged cards like this. And so now all I have to do is line up all the scallop edges and press down on that hinge, and this card is ready to finish assembling. So to attach the shaker mechanism, I am using more Scor-Tape. This is a wider Scor-Tape. I think it's like not quite 1/2 inch wide. And now that I've adhered it all, I can pull off the release tape and attach it to the card base. And I'm just eyeballing it. And wasn't really happy with it, but it wasn't going to come up. So, all right, so on the inside, I decided I really want to use those little watermelon seeds. So I'm just holding down my card with that roll of tape because when you open up the hinge of these cards, it doesn't really lay flat. And I'm adhering those little watermelon seeds on the inside. And I think that looked cute. So here's a matching die for these fruit sentiments. And I'm just going to show you a little trick I may have shown you before, but I die cut it out of a piece of cardstock and create a template. And then I can place that template around my actual sentiment to make sure that the spacing is perfect. And I'll tape that template down, and then the die just pops in place. And that way, when you send it through the die machine, you know that you're going to have a perfect die cut sentiment. And that way you don't do all the work and then run it through the die machine and all of a sudden it's off-centered or whatever. So I am applying this sentiment to the front, again with Scor-Tape, because, it is being applied to plastic, so I don't really like using glue for that. And here we go. How cute is that? And here's the inside. You are one in a melon. And it was so easy. All right, now we're going on to the lemon. Now, this could be a lime, this could be an orange, and you'll see it's even bigger. It's called an oversized fruit stencil, and you'll see it's actually bigger than my 4 1/4 inch circle here, but that's okay. So I'm just using some yellow distress ink. I think I started with squeezed lemonade, which, very fitting. And then for the center, I'm going to use mustard seed. Now, fun fact, I don't like citrus, like at all. I was going to make this an orange, but orange, think of Superman with kryptonite. That's me with oranges. If I was Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when he gets thrown into a pit of snakes, if it were me, I'd be thrown into a pit of freshly cut oranges. So I decided to make a lemon because I find lemon to be, I can eat foods with a little bit of lemon as long as it doesn't taste like lemon. So again, I'm just doing the same thing as I did on the card before. But this time for my shaker bits, obviously I'm going to use some yellow instead of red. So yeah, people think I'm weird because of my citrus issue. And I don't know why I don't like citrus, but it's a very well-known fact among family and friends. All right, so now I'm enclosing the shaker, and everything else is, just like it was on the first card. Easy peasy. And I say easy peasy because now you're going to see the inside sentiment. So I learned my lesson on the last one to cut the circle down first before stamping the sentiment. So loving you is easy peasy lemon squeezy. How cute is that? All right, so now I, again, put Scor-Tape on the back of the shaker and gluing it or adhering it to the front of my card. And then I have another fun sentiment to put on the front of this one. But before that, I'm actually I had forgotten to ink blend the edges of this. So just using a little bit of darker yellow. And then we'll be ready for the pucker up sentiment. These sentiments are so fun and cute. And I love how bold they are. I just love how they add that big pop of boldness. All right, so there it is. And here's the inside. And I just love these shakers. Here they both are. And I'll let you listen. Super fun, right? All right, that is it for me today. Here are the finished cards. I really thank you for joining me today. I am trying to get, back into the swing of things after being out for so long and being sick this week. So hopefully you will see more from me soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.